Bowl in Pasadena, California, as we prepare for the much-anticipated final.
20 years ago, it all started here.
You guys have been preparing for this your whole lives. Something that is purely ours, that you've created.
Chastain will take it. She missed a penalty kick against China in the Algarve Cup. Go! The United States has won the Women's World Cup.
Today, the U.S. women return to this iconic venue after being crowned back-to-back world champions. Once again, becoming a fountain of inspiration in record-setting fashion.
Is so resilient, is so tough, is just so badass.
With the Tour de Four complete, we welcome back the U.S. women in proper style.
From here on out, we'll just be known as America's team.
Yep.
America's team indeed. Fresh off yet another World Cup title, the U.S. women's national team has returned stateside as conquering heroines. And today, finally, in front of their home fans, the U.S. will enjoy a much kinder, gentler gauntlet than the daunting one they survived earlier this summer in France. Welcome to ESPN's coverage of the U.S. women's national team, brought to you by Volkswagen. We are live from the historic Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California, where, yes, 20 years ago, last month, the U.S. women's soccer team won a second World Cup title. Today, the U.S. faces Ireland to launch a 5-game victory tour in honor of the team's 4th World Cup triumph. And we have the evidence of that World Cup triumph right in front of us, the FIFA Women's World Cup trophy. Truly a thing of beauty and a thing well earned. Alongside World Cup and Olympic champions Julie Foudy and Kate Markgraf, I'm Sebastian Salazar. Great to have you with us from here in Southern California. We have what the 2019 team has accomplished. We are feet away from the field on which the 99ers, you all, started this whole thing. I gotta ask you, Julie, with 35,000 some people here, what are you feeling?
Oh, I actually have never called a game from here, so I walked into the broadcast booth and the view of the hills and the palm trees, and I was like, oh my God, this is it. And it's not the first time back, of course, but the first time actually calling a soccer game here, so it's been fun. It's been neat to be here.
What about you, Kate?
Well, I walked in, I didn't remember that this is even situated amongst the hills because I was so nervous that all I could do was put one foot in front of the other. I was, the first new player in the big tournament. So I just remember the deafening noise after the Jets flew past and I could hear my heart. And then when we won, I couldn't hear my teammates, I couldn't hear anything. It was by far one of the greatest moments in my life.
You guys were dominant in that run, but not as dominant as the 2019 team and what they just did in France. Of course, just the second team ever to win back-to-back Women's World Cup titles. Germany did so in 2003, 2007. They beat a who's who of consistent or emerging European powers along the way. And if you want firepower, boy, they had it. 26 goals. That's the most ever scored at a Women's World Cup. Of course, half of those goals came against Thailand. Multiple records set in that famous 13-0 victory, and perhaps most impressively, they did it as a true team. 9 different players scored in France. Kate, so much was said about this team before the tournament. So much more was said about it during the tournament. Now that it's all in the rearview mirror, what are we saying about them?
Well, I think the one thing we didn't know going to the tournament is did they have enough time to bond with so many changes, so many players getting capped, so many players in that starting lineup on a constant rotation? Would they bond? Would they find that chemistry? And you know what? Once they got there, they became a team. They decided to leave everything out on the field, play for each other, and buy in to maybe taking some personal sacrifices for the greater glory. And that's the reason why this team won, and this is by far the greatest team.
Julie, best team ever?
I think it is. And let's put that in context, shall we? There have been 8 Women's World Cups. The U.S. has played in 5 of them. They've won 4 of them. So there's been a lot of good U.S. teams, as we know, but this one was emphatic. It just felt dominant on the field, off the field. The stat I love, because every time you would say, how does it feel coming in as defending champions? They're like, we're defending nothing. We're attacking. And they did just that. On their front foot, it took them at the most 12 minutes to score in every game until the final. And so this was a team that was hungry, and that's hard to do as a defending champion.
Of course, a big part of this team's journey is their manager, Jill Ellis. Some breaking news around her this week on Tuesday, announcing she would be stepping down in October after the victory tour. Her resume speaks for itself. 5 years in charge, the only coach to win 2 Women's World Cup titles, and as you see there, she's closing in on the legendary Tony DeCicco's all-time wins mark. All that said, Jill Ellis took a lot of criticism throughout the tournament and maybe even more before it. Now that her tenure is over, effectively, what is her legacy, Kate?
I think her legacy is how important is the journey. I mean, this is a coach that won 2 world championships with 2 different rosters, 2 different styles of play, gave 30-plus players their first cap, played over 70 players in different possessions, right, within that entire player pool. This is someone that grew the player pool, set it up for the next round, and not only that, she was willing to take risks, right? She was willing to do whatever it took to put the best team on the field when it came time in 2019.
Julie?
Yeah, and I'll second that last bit. I mean, that takes a lot of courage. Even though you're talking 2017, 2018, where there's not a major championship, she was rejiggering, she was experimenting, because she knew she had to bring in players with more creativity, like Rose Lavelle, which I think will be part of her legacy. But I think that's the one thing she talked about all the time. If we're caring about results in 2017, what are we doing? You got to experiment, and you got to try, and she was courageous enough to do that.
Of course, people will want to know who the Jill Ellis replacement will be. First things first, though, there's some tricky timing involved, isn't there, Kate?
Well, I think that's really important, but the naming of who is going to be the next coach, but it does come down to the timing. The Olympics are going to start late July, early August. Qualifying for those Olympics, 2 slots from CONCACAF starts late January, early February. So that coach who ends up coming in is going to have limited time with this roster.
Yeah, and I'm going to add to that again, because with that limited time, and I'm going to float something that is interesting. Could you almost do a short-term solution with a coach that's very familiar with this team? For example, assistant coach Tony Gustafsson, who we have seen on the sidelines, very hands-on. He's constantly making tactical adjustments, changes, talking to the team. Could you hire him short-term so you stay consistent because you have such a tight turnaround, and then you look for a new voice going into that next cycle for the World Cup? Plenty of NWSL managers and even collegiate coaches, I think, that would want to take over the best team in the world.
It's a question for the incoming general manager of the U.S. Women's National Team, a position U.S. Soccer hopes to fill soon. This week, Kate, it was reported by Stephen Goff of the Washington Post that you are a candidate for that position. Just to be direct, would you be interested?
Tessetti, who would not be interested in that position? I mean, Foudy, I'm surprised Foudy's name didn't come up, but she's so good at television. No, I would love to be a part of that situation.
Kate, I got my list then right here. I'm starting it.
Good thing I cannot read your handwriting.
The Julie Foudy wish list. I'm sure it won't be
long.
Short. Look, a question for the not too distant future, but we're really here to celebrate the not too distant past. When we return a look at what this team has been up to since winning the World Cup against the Netherlands just 3 short weeks ago. I tell you what, to call it a whirlwind would be a massive understatement. All that and more when we return. It's the U.S. Women's National Team Victory Tour from the Rose Bowl.
At Spectrum Business, we know today is the most important day for your business. Today, you have to stay one step ahead, solve new problems, and adapt to whatever the day throws at you. That's why you need Spectrum Business. With over 99.9% reliability, it's the network that keeps you connected to all of your clients and all of their needs. It's always on, like you. Because we treat today like the most important day for your business. That is, until tomorrow. Spectrum Business. We keep small business running.
We have 3 parts. We have the intro.
This summer, Volkswagen is supporting America's teachers. Visit your VW dealer to learn how you can join in. Hurry in during the Volkswagen Drive Bigger event and lease a family-friendly 2019 Atlas S4 Motion for just $329 a month.
Remember when your house had this thingy? Now it has that. But with Spectrum, smart homes aren't stopping there. Because they'll have all this amazing... Yeah, okay. Soon our homes will have this and that. You get the idea. That's why Spectrum's secure, fiber-powered network is ready with the privacy you demand and the bandwidth you need, no matter how smart our homes may become.
I too am hungry.
But some things will never change. Spectrum. Think forward.
I switched from Dodge.
We switched from Ford.
I switched from Ram.
I switched to Chevy.
We switched to Chevy. We switched to Chevy.
For dependability.
For these guys.
And just look at it.
We switched to Chevy. See for yourself why people are switching at the Chevy All-Star Open House.
Get 20% below MSRP on all 2019 Silverado double cab pickups. That's over $97.50 on this Silverado. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
We're improving 50,000 homes by 2020.
One of the first things I noticed was that they didn't have a smoke detector, so that was the very first thing I did when I got here.
It's a big relief to know that my baby will be in a safe environment.
The team has really come together to do something powerful for the community.
We've had people tell us they don't know how they want to get their house done if it wasn't for us.
Thank you very much for everything that you've done, Spectrum. It means the world to me.
Welcome to Toyota's National Clearance Event.
Been hearing a lot about some great deals.
Yep, with the great deals on the last of the 2019s and low APR financing options, it's a win-win.
What about me?
It's a win-win-win.
What about us?
It's a win-win-win. Everybody wins at the National Clearance Event.
Now get $1,250 total cash back on a rugged new 4Runner. Get $3,000 cash back on a stylish and roomy 2019 Highlander. Or get a great low-mileage lease for $239 a month.
Save on the last of the 2019s. Come in today.
Toyota. Let's go places.
This bell has rung 3,423 times. Spectrum Business knows the sound of that bell means that business is good. It means that someone got their first basketball or a glove they'll hold on to forever. With over 99.9% network reliability, Spectrum Business is there to help. So you can be sure your business will always be stocked, always be connected, and of course, always be ringing. Spectrum Business. We keep small business running.
The U.S. Women's National Team are World Cup champions, and the first of their 5-match victory tour about to kick off against the Republic of Ireland. Welcome back to Pasadena, California, and the Rose Bowl alongside Kate Markgraf. I'm Sebastian Salazar. As you can see, Julie Foudy has abandoned us. She's up to the broadcast booth. She'll be joined by Adrian Healy in just a few moments for the call of this match. As you saw before the break, this 2019 team has quite enjoyed themselves in the last 3 weeks. Kate, it's a circuit you did in 1999. What are some of your fondest memories?
Well, I think just any opportunity you have to be a rock star and you're not used to it, you have to jump on it. After we won, the next morning, 7 a.m., we had to be at Disneyland, then got on a flight after our parade at Disneyland, New York, did all the talk shows, then went to D.C., hear from the president, then Air Force 2 to watch a launch.
That was what it was like in 99. To get a sense of what it was like in 2019, we just spoke with Alex Morgan, and here's a look at what everything is involved. Ticker tape parade through New York City. Of course, many television appearances. You gotta take every TV spot you can get. Right here they are on Good Morning America. Of course, Megan Rapinoe joining Anderson Cooper on CNN.
Obviously, it feels like it's been like 3 months where it's only been really 3 or 4 weeks. So one of the coolest things to be able to be a part of again is obviously the ticker tape parade in New York, going to the ESPYs, arriving fashionably late with the team, and obviously all of the extravagant parties that we were a part of as well were quite fun. But obviously now back with our club teams and right into the middle of season. So this is a nice little celebration and break away from that.
I'm sure you enjoyed the victories in France, but what will it mean today to be in front of your home fans?
Yeah, to have this first game and have it be within a month of the World Cup final is incredible, and just to be able to celebrate with our fans at the Rose Bowl, a game where none of us on this current team have ever played in, is quite special for us.
Extravagant parties. One of those, of course, as Alex mentioned, was at the ESPYs, where the team took home the best team honor, and it gave Alex a little bit of an opportunity to have some fun. We take our ESPY trophies very seriously, but fair play to Alex here.
Sorry, but this is probably the second best trophy we won this week.
Understandable.
Best line ever. Drop the mic and walk away. You cannot top that answer.
Look, real quick, Alex Morgan is a household name. Her life's not going to change. Winning the World Cup did change your life, didn't it?
It did. You know, it makes you more... It finally gives you that confidence and credibility. It's a big thank you to your parents for all those holidays that you missed, for all the money put in and vacations lost. And, you know, in the end, sometimes you're the best team and don't win. But when you do win, that's a shared medal. But more importantly, guess what? My friends knew I wasn't crazy for not getting a job, instead playing soccer.
Of course, we're celebrating 2019. We're also celebrating 2015. We're also celebrating 1999. We're also celebrating 1991. And in fact, it was after the 99 tournament that you guys first enjoyed, Kate, a victory tour. What was your experience like?
Well, it was wonderful because we got to share the World Cup and our experience with everyone across the country, because only a couple select cities got to see the World Cup firsthand, but we were able to play these games and interact with the fans, sign autographs, and more importantly, grow the game. And you can grow the game when it's approachable, and it's most approachable when you can see it firsthand.
Are you surprised that 20 years later we're still doing this victory tour?
I am not surprised for that same reason. When you see magic happen on a field, and you see the best of the best do something that is incredibly hard to do, you want to be a part of it. You want to witness it firsthand.
We see Mia Hamm there getting comfortable with the camera. We are hoping that she will join us here actually at halftime of this broadcast. It really should be stated, it's a great turnout here today. Over 35,000. It is a homecoming worthy of this team, I think.
And not only that, when you walk in, this is one of the most majestic stadiums you could play in. Every single one of us has our favorite stadium that we've ever had. This is always in our top 5.
I always wonder what the young fans who are watching this are thinking right now. You had a chance to be somebody's icon. Now, this 2019 team is going to be all the young ladies and young boys in this audience's icons.
And what's even better for me personally is that my daughter looks up to one of these players. She doesn't play soccer, but she's like, this is amazing. And that's what it did. Boys and girls, everyone now has a new icon to look up to, and that inspiration, it's fueled it for the next generation.
All right, we are about to get a history lesson in what is the U.S. women's national team. For more, let's send it to today's public address announcer.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats for the playing of the national anthem of the Republic of Ireland.
We are
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing and welcome national recording artist and renowned singer-songwriter Jules Aurora to sing tonight's Star Spangled Banner.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
For a fourth time, the U.S. Women's National Team are World Cup champions. Their victory tour starts next. The United States versus Ireland when we return to the Rose Bowl.
Remember when your house had this thingy? Now it has that. But with Spectrum, smart homes aren't stopping there because they'll have all this amazing... Yeah, okay. Soon our homes will have this and that. You get the idea. That's why Spectrum's secure, fiber-powered network is ready with the privacy you demand and the bandwidth you need, no matter how smart our homes may become.
I too am hungry.
But some things will never change. Spectrum. Think forward.
We have three parts. We have the intro.
This summer, Volkswagen is supporting America's teachers. Visit your VW dealer to learn how you can join in. Hurry in during the Volkswagen Drive Bigger event and lease a family-friendly 2019 Atlas S4 Motion for just $329 a month.
This bell has rung 3,423 times. Spectrum Business knows the sound of that bell means that business is good. It means that someone got their first basketball or a glove they'll hold on to forever. With over 99.9% network reliability, Spectrum Business is there to help, so you can be sure your business will always be stocked, always be connected, and of course, always be ringing. Spectrum Business. We keep small business running.
I switched from Dodge.
We switched from Ford.
I switched from Ram. I switched to Chevy.
We switched to Chevy. We switched to Chevy.
For dependability.
For these guys.
And just look at it.
We switched to Chevy.
See for yourself why people are switching at the Chevy All-Star Open House. Get 20% below MSRP on all 2019 Silverado double cab pickups. That's over $97.50 on this Silverado. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
We're improving 50,000 homes by 2020.
One of the first things I noticed was that they didn't have a smoke detector, so that was the very first thing I did when I got here.
It's a big relief to know that my baby will be in a safe environment.
The team has really come together to do something powerful for the community.
We've had people tell us they don't know how they want to get their house done if it wasn't for us.
Thank you very much for everything that you've done, Spectrum. It means the world to me.
Heading to Toyota's National Clearance Event.
We got great deals for all our friends.
Better get here before the end of the song. The last of the 2019s won't last long.
Get a rugged new 2019 Tacoma with $1,750 total cash back, 3.9 financing plus $750 bonus cash, or a low mileage lease for $209 a month.
Save on the last of the 2019s.
Toyota, let's go places.
Spectrum Originals presents Nothing about the race is easy, but it is going to be worth it. Because at the end of tonight, one team is going to come with me to a place with hope. Race yourselves free.
I think I broke my glasses.
Curfew. Watch all episodes now for free, exclusively on demand.
Welcome back, everyone. ESPN's coverage of US soccer is brought to you by Volkswagen, coming to you from the Rose Bowl. Never the easiest assignment, is it, being a victory tour opponent? But the Republic of Ireland team hope to join the rising tide of European nations, becoming forces to be reckoned with. Their squad is a seasoned mixture of pros playing around Europe, young up-and-coming talent playing in Ireland and collegiately here in the US. The big story for the US, their exertions at the World Cup and what has followed mean no place in the starting 11 tonight for Megan Rapinoe or Alex Morgan. Carly Lloyd, though, will lead the line. Tobin Heath and Kristin Press either side of her. After the coronation comes the celebration. Before we get to that, though, it's more of a somber moment. We'll send you down to the PA announcer on the field, Megan Alexander.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join us for a moment of silence for those who lost their lives in the tragedy today in El Paso, Texas. Thank you.
Moment of somber reflection to get us going here before the party gets started in Pasadena. The US against the Republic of Ireland, 4 weeks on from France, and a 4th star on the US journey. It's the start of a 5-game victory tour for the 23 women who captured the hearts and minds of a nation. How appropriate it is here at the Rose Bowl that we get things started. Adrian Healy with Julie Foudy alongside. And Julie, 20 years on, if you can believe it, from that wonderful day.
It's so strange to be here. I've never called a game from here.
Really?
Kate and I were discussing walking in the tunnel, the Hanson brothers, J-Lo. Good times.
There's a lot of celebrities here tonight. Kobe Bryant was spotted walking in. Everyone wants a piece of this team. Really grabbed, as I said, the hearts and minds of a nation in many of the same ways that you guys did 20 years ago, Julie. But to start this victory tour here in Pasadena, just the perfect setting.
I was talking to Alex Morgan earlier, and she said, we've never played in the Rose Bowl. We're so excited for this.
Yep, none of the players involved here tonight have done that. It's actually the first time for 17 years the US women's national team has been here at the Rose Bowl. Well, she's going out on top, isn't she? Jill Ellis, the first to win 2 FIFA Women's World Cups, has joined a very exclusive club, one of only 2 men or women to win consecutive World Cups. Vittorio Pozzo was the other, Julie. I know you knew
1934-ish.
Yeah.
A long time ago, that's what I know. Yeah.
Quite a remarkable 5.5 years in charge for Ellis, which will end with these 5 games. A chance to go out as the winningest all-time US women's national team coach as well.
And what a run she had to come in as defending champions, as we know, as you just said, so hard to win it back-to-back. Germany having been the only country to have done that on the women's side. And for them to do it in the emphatic fashion that they did it. I mean, just pounding through teams, starting strong, and then beating 5 European teams to actually win that back-to-back title. And look at that run. Sweden, Spain. That Spain game still.
Yeah.
I still get nervous thinking about that one. France.
that was a nail biter, Julie.
France after that. England after that. And Netherlands for the final.
you said it. There was a ruthlessness to the US this summer in France, an unshakable confidence, but also a sense of joy and fun that they were really out there to enjoy themselves.
Absolutely.
Moran to Becky Salbron, and long ball forward for Carly Lloyd, looking to make an immediate impact. Carly Lloyd, a 282nd cap tonight, third all-time in the US list.
And something we know Lindsey Horan can do quite well, find those players in the box.
Comes the corner. Sorry, Houlihan, who had the decent punch away. Irish goalkeeper, I'm sure, is anticipating a fairly busy night. Ireland ranked number 33 in the world in FIFA. Inside by Tobin Heath. The run was from Kristen Press, and nearly found out it's Crystal Dunn.
And now maybe we've talked a little bit about the fact that, you know, you come into these games as a victory tour, and they're not your typical game, of course. So they're here, and I wouldn't call it an all-star game to that level in terms of no defending. You want to win these, but I mean, the team is clearly here to thank their fans, have fun, enjoy it. I mean, it's not the stress level you get even for a normal friendly. But for Ireland, on the other hand, I mean, they've got their first Euro qualifier in 1 month, exactly 1 month.
Yeah.
And they don't get a lot of games, and especially games against top teams, and especially games against the #1 team in the world. So this is a huge event for them.
Yeah, taking it very seriously. Been here since Monday, training at the LA Galaxy facility. Need a meaningful game of any sort since April. It's Ira's ball. It's a little too strong. Like the US, Ireland facing an uncertain coaching future. They've just lost their head coach Tom Bell, who left for the English Championship in Huddersfield Town. Tom O'Connor, his first game as interim head coach.
How about that for your first game as head coach?
Just start at the
welcome, Tom.
Yeah. Houlihan. The restart. Lindsey Horan. Horan wide to Crystal Dunn.
Talking to Jill Ellis yesterday too about kind of the strategy behind this and who she's playing. Obviously, she said, we're just trying to show the love and show the load, was the quote she gave.
Yep.
And by load, minutes, especially because you have some midweek NWSL games that they're very cognizant of.
Yep. Clever work from Crystal Dunn, who's weaved her way through. Well, they thought the opener was coming. Kristen Press trying to rekindle the attack. Julie Ertz. As Tobin Heath clipped, it's advantage played. There's cross in, and it's a well-timed header from Carly Lloyd. Just didn't quite get the placement right.
Carly's so good at just shaking a little bit of space. This is Crystal Dunn earlier. Working through 3, 4, finding a seam. And then here's the chance where Carly has such a good sense of, she takes her defender away and then finds a little gap in front of her. so good with that movement in the box.
Again, picking off Lewis. Right to Tobin Hoof, who wasn't originally going to start until just about an hour before kickoff. Larry Pugh was in the original starting lineup.
Tobin Heath, one of those players with a midweek game. Portland plays on Wednesday. Rain play on Wednesday. Utah, Sky Blue.
Cross cannoning behind. Another US corner upcoming. Seated by Jess Gargan. Like her coach, making her full national team debut tonight. Go between Dunn and Press, and then at the near post, Julie Ertz just wide. Julie, let's take a look at our Continental Tire Analyst Corner. What do you got for us?
You mentioned this earlier, Adrian, and I couldn't agree more, is that I think so much of that success in France has to do with those two things right there. Chemistry and the cohesion, and then just this joy that I hadn't seen in this group that actually reminded me a lot of the 99 group. And having spent a month with them in France and watched them at every training and everywhere you went, there was laughter, and they, of course, were ready to go and competitive when they needed to, but there was always this lightness to them as well that I think is so healthy, and you see it in so many successful teams in all sports. And it was wonderful to see.
As we showed you pre-game, those stats and records broken. 26 goals scored by this team in France. They broke their own record, which had been set all the way back in the very first Women's World Cup in 1991. The US scored 25. I think you mentioned it pre-game as well, Julie, but the fast starts they made, they were fire starters, weren't they? The US scored all those goals inside the opening 12 minutes of games.
I mean, every time you ask them, you know, what does it feel like coming in as the defending World Cup champion? They're like, we're defending nothing, we're attacking. I was like, okay, all right, I get it. But they definitely had that mindset. You could see it from the first moment the whistle was blown.
From Kelly O'Hara was repelled. Katie McCabe would have hook it clear for Ireland. One goalkeeper expecting a busy night, the other perhaps not so much. Senair getting her first touch of the ball. Juliet on the ball, was telling us yesterday it's her first trip to the Rose Bowl since she came to watch the man who was then the future husband, Zach, play a college football game here for Stanford.
I have seen some of those Stanford Rose Bowl games.
As we said, the last time the US women were actually here, game you played in, Julie, although you claim not to remember it, 2002 World Cup qualifiers.
I was convinced the last time a U.S. team, women's team had played was the 99 final. And then Aaron Heifetz, press officer, was like, no, there were 2 more games between these.
Beat Mexico and Canada here, fall of 2002.
I said, did I play in those games? He goes, yeah. 90 minutes and you were the captain. Oh. Age, it's a beautiful thing.
Thanks for the reminder, It's Kristen Press. Oh, Carly Lloyd trying to hunt down the loose ball. It's one thing Ireland can't afford to do tonight. Commit any errors at the back. If there is a strength for this Irish team, it is defensively.
Yeah, that's where all their veteran core really is.
We have Louise Quinn, who plays for Arsenal. Diane Caldwell, who plays in the German Bundesliga. Enjoying the lineup. Plenty of seasoned pros all around Europe. Of young up-and-coming talent as well. And time for grabs and maybe put away. Oh, Carly Lloyd is on the end of that bobblehead ball and then couldn't keep her effort down.
No surprise again, it's Carly Lloyd, who just seems to have a sixth sense for that. That one flying to her on the backside. Just catches under it, doesn't quite hit it properly.
That's where she stands in all-time ranks in so many different categories. 10 Women's World Cup goals as well. It's the most of any player in US history. Always had the knack of coming up with the goals in the big games, Carly Lloyd's. Olympic finals, World Cup final 2015. Crystal Dunn, further inroads. The anticipated early siege. The Irish penalty area is truly underway. That shot to Lindsay Horan took a massive deflection and is going to ultimately result in another corner. Lindsay Horan, who scored goals against Thailand and Sweden. That big assist in the semi-final too against England. Sending it in, it's Fahy was off balance. Dunn staying busy. Carves out another corner.
Crystal Dunn, mind you, the left back for the United States, always getting in on the offensive front, and especially in a victory tour game.
Fourth corner finds its way through to Lloyd. Still, it won't quite happen for Carly Lloyd. The breakout could be on. Well, it would have been if Heather Payne had been able to play a more accurate ball. But Barrett.
Heather Payne had Amber Barrett there. She had a 2v1 as well. I mean, that's what you learn too as a young team.
Now then, is this the moment? It is! Tobin Heath gets the party started in Pasadena. There at the far post to nod home. Well, they weren't able to do it inside 12 minutes as they did so often in the World Cup, but 15 minutes will do very nicely.
Not for a lack of looks, that's for sure. So after the missed counterattack by Ireland, this is what happens when you don't punish the United States. Sam Mewis stepping on that one, finding that player wide, and what a nice ball in to Tobin Heath. Just working by Kristen Press. Just working that backside. Harriet Scott unable to stay with her. And that one becomes an easy finish for Tobin Heath. But a great ball in by Kristen Press.
Yeah, deliciously served in from Press, wasn't it? And Tobin Heath, that's goal number 31. Of her US career. It's still odd, Julie, thinking about Tobin Heath as a veteran, but that is what she now is. At the age of 31, 3 World Cups under her belt. So the US off and running. Crystal Dunn. Great challenge actually from Louise Quinn, and it needed to be. Heath sweeping in that ball first time. break their way, and the shot on the turn in the end from Samantha Mewis. Comfortable enough for Marie Hourihan. Sam Mewis, who
what a tournament she had.
Yeah.
I mean, you really were looking at going into that World Cup. You had 4 really good options for those 3 in the middle. Rose Lavelle, of course, Sam Mewis, Lindsey Horan, and Julie Ertz. And so it was the constant debate of who do you go with of those starting 3. And I think Jill Ellis got it right. As much as you love the creativity of Lindsey Horan and what she can bring to a game with her distribution and with her ability to break pressure, Sam Mewis, box to box, good defensively, great offensively, such a good engine. All those little decisions that Jill Ellis had to make, she got right.
Yep.
You know, for all the criticism she took coming in to the World Cup about losing in 17, losing some more in 18, she always had such a conviction of, and she used to say to me offline all the time, what are we doing if we're worried about losing in 2017? Yeah. We should be able to try and experiment. And I should have the courage to do that and the freedom to do that. And good for her for having just that. And for U.S. Soccer giving her that leash a little bit.
Hourihan got a piece of that. And then over the top from Lindsey Horan. ESPN's coverage is brought to you by Volkswagen, presenting sponsor of US Soccer. Drive something bigger than yourself. And Indeed, the world's #1 job site. Talked of jobs, and Jill Ellis, of course, has announced her departure.
And I think that's a good move. You go out on top, you go out with back-to-back titles. I think it's smart.
She felt the timing was just right. She wasn't tempted to try and stay on and win an Olympic Games. Of course, that's always been so hard to do for any team that's won a World Cup. It hasn't been done, in fact. It's Crystal Dunn. Continues to chisel away on the far side across some half-hearted appeals for handball. Jill Ellis was asked that yesterday, wasn't she, about the Olympics? Was she tempted to stay on? She's
not really.
Already experienced 3 of them. Only one as a head coach. But
and that's what people forget. I mean, she's been around since Pia took over in 2008 as her assistant. I mean, that goes way back to the time on the road, away from the family. You get it. You get it. It makes sense.
Yeah. There'll be a lot of conjecture about what happens next, both for her and US Women. She said yesterday, publicly at least, that she hasn't given the matter much thought. Just spending some time with the family as O'Hara heads for the byline. Harriet Scott, those who plays in Europe, plays with Birmingham City. English Premier League. Cross from Mewis through to Hourihan. Well, it is hard to go out at the top, isn't it? In the coaching profession, where so often it's not your decision to leave. Of coming up with a follow-on about is a tough one, as well as Amber Barrett muscles her way through. That was a first voyage into the US penalty area for Ireland, and Amber Barrett almost made the most of it. Talking about going out on top, but that's the sort of company she's in.
Like, look at that group right there.
Bill Walsh, Red Auerbach, Sonny Bauman, Tommy LaRussa.
Yep.
Don't get to dictate the terms of your exit very often in that profession. Probably in soccer terms, on the men's side, you might add Pep Guardiola to that list, who left Barcelona. On top, of course, he's continued his remarkable career as is Hourihan having to come out and deny Lindsey Horan. There's going to be a lot of chatter, Julie, until some sort of announcement is made as to who will succeed Jill Ellis. And
why not Pep Guardiola?
Well,
there you go. You just said it.
We've been talking about it, but seriously,
I'm sure Man City would be fine with that.
Maybe not talking Pep specifically, but of that sort of caliber, that sort of candidate, is there any reason why the US women shouldn't be looking in that sort of direction?
Well, I always find it interesting when people say, well, it's going to be hard to get a college coach to walk away from the game. And I get that. There's a lot of stability for some of those coaches who have been at their universities for many years.
Yeah.
But I also then go, wait, but it's the United States, right? It's the #1 team in the world. That's a coach's dream, is to try and do what Jill just did. So I do think you're going to have a lot of people interested. And I do think you shouldn't set a limit on what your ceiling is.
Crystal Dunn continuing her rampaging first half display. Kristen Press to Julie Ertz. Julie Ertz, of course, a veteran of the 2015 World Cup when she was a rookie. So interestingly, the difference was quite stark in 2015. Described it as having nothing to lose. Oh, that's a nice ball at the near post that Kristen Press couldn't quite turn in. Hurahan with the initial save.
Kristen Press having flashbacks to the World Cup where the same thing would happen. Goalkeepers making great saves on you. Good run by Press, though, to get on that goal side of her defender. Just a little burst. Get you that window.
World Cup, 1 goal, 1 assist. The goal was a massive one, though, wasn't it, in the semi-final against England? And a header, which is quite unusual for her. She would admit that. She needs 1 more, by the way, Julie, to...
And that was a game, remember, where Megan Rapinoe was unable to start. Kristen Press comes in off the bench, and we talked all tournament about the depth of that team. I mean, there it was in action. Or, for example, Ali Krieger able to step in that final in the second half.
Just need 1 more tonight to join the 50-goal club. The US Women's National Team Victory Tour will continue on September the 3rd, right here on ESPN2 and the ESPN app. Will be in Minnesota to see them take on Portugal in the fabulous new Allianz Field, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. For all your soccer needs, and check out ESPN FC on ESPN Plus every day. And
Matt Pugh's like, yeah, that's right. I know you're waving at me.
Just showed that, obviously, Megan Rapinoe and Alex Morgan on the big scoreboard here.
I mean, such a bummer for fans that neither are going to play tonight, but they also are thinking long-term, and with the clubs wanting them back healthy.
Yeah.
Talked to Megan Rapinoe, talked to both of them yesterday. Megan Rapinoe saying that she still has a lingering ankle Achilles issue from the World Cup, and Alex Morgan says a bone bruise in her knee that is taking longer to heal than she had hoped.
As I say, they've tried to be cognizant, haven't they, of the NWSL schedule. All these national teams went back to their NWSL teams. What an injection of interest there has been around the league as well.
So great to see.
Record-breaking crowds. Ertz through the middle. He was trying to help it on.
Morgan Bryan is another one who may not be able to play a little bit tonight. Mal Pugh was a late change to the lineup. She was actually starting for Tobin Heath, and she had a little tinge that she was feeling, so they're obviously playing it safe. And gosh, and just imagine the wear and tear on their bodies and what they beyond just the World Cup, I mean, the emotion of what you go through after and the victory tours and the media, and you just, it's so much fun, but it's so hard to come off of that high and then rejigger and get yourselves ready for playing professionally and traveling and the demands of that schedule as well. It's asking a lot of these players, for sure.
And you're seeing Rose Lavelle on the bench there as well. That a lot of US fans will get to see, I'm sure, later on in this evening. And she told us yesterday it was really the mental side to the World Cup that took her by surprise more than anything. Just the mental fortitude required to get through a sequence of 7 games.
How hard it was to be so locked in all the time. And those are the things you learn as a young player. I mean, that's the beauty of those World Cups, is now she has that well of information and knowledge that she can share for this next one to the younger players. I just thought that young group did so well in this World Cup. Sam Mewis, Lindsey Horan, Rose Lavelle, Mal Pugh, Abby Dahlkemper in her first. I mean,
Lloyd looking for Mewis, who can get there. A decent clearance, actually, in the end by Clara Reardon. A chance for Katie McCabe to try and find Amber Barrett. Little ball in around the back. Barrett's prepared to chase it down. Ireland's last game of any sort, by the way, back in April. It's a 2-1 defeat against Italy, of course, who had a bit of a breakout World Cup themselves. Last win came against Wales. As you mentioned, Julie, for the Irish, it's all about a meaningful game coming up in just a month's time for them. They start the qualification for Euro 2021. That's the tournament's been played in England as we look down the sun setting over the mountains here in Pasadena. Glorious setting it is. The afterglow of the World Cup is still very much simmering. That shot all along the ground, and there's number 2. The offside flag stays down, and Lindsey Horan has her goal.
as long as we don't see that motion of the box when going to VAR, I'm happy. I've had enough of that for the summer. Tobin Heath doing her thing, collecting 1, 2, a third defender, and then Horan making that run from deep. Looks like she's on from this angle, but she started deep.
Little touch from Christian Press as well as that ball came in, and Horan anticipated it and moved beautifully onto the end of it. Must have been a personal disappointment for Julie not to start at the World Cup final. That was one of the big talking points, wasn't it, in the knockout rounds? Having to come off the bench as well. Those games against Spain. Jill Ellis and the ability to withstand questions and criticism. Is she off? Well, maybe she is upon
with the tap on
a closer inspection. The Irish defenders were certainly appealing, weren't they? Maybe they had every right to. The goal stands. It's number 11 for Lindsey Horan, US career. Katie McCabe with some good work in the corner flag for the Irish, but now Tobin Heath. Crowd just still lap up anything that Tobin Heath can do in terms of the tricks and the flicks.
Going back to Ireland, they finished third. We know how difficult that European group is to get out of as they start to wind up and get ready for the European Championship qualifiers. But they finished third in their World Cup qualifiers behind the Netherlands. So they actually tied the Netherlands in World Cup qualifying, who, as we know, played the U.S. in the final. Norway finished top of their group. Netherlands right underneath them. They went through, of course, on a playoff. And Ireland at 13 points.
Horan is relieved to see that flow behind, as Julie Ertz is feeling the pain.
So they were 6 points off the qualifying pace from the Netherlands. And you feel like they're at a tipping point, and they are sitting in a group where they've got Germany, Ukraine, Greece, and Montenegro.
Ertz trying to get on the end of the cross. Harriet Scott meeting fire with fire.
You don't often see Julie Ertz fall down like that.
No.
Especially not defensively.
I was starting to say earlier about saying they had nothing to lose in 2015 and everything to lose in 2019. It was a big mental difference for her, being a rookie in Canada. But they didn't play. They had the weight of the world on their shoulders. As I said yesterday in those conferences, the meticulous planning that went into this team's preparation for France. Stone was left unturned as that was a delightful floated effort in. Carl Kemper. Again. Here's wide for Kristen Press. Press with the quick give and go and looking for goal. Our next MLS broadcast coming up tomorrow. A good one too. Portland at Allianz Field to take on Minnesota United. 4 Eastern, 3 Central on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and the ESPN app. Remember, all your soccer needs. ESPN Plus, our studio show. ESPN FC every day of the week. Delighted you could be with us tonight for the opening of the Victory Tour for the US. Close to 5 stops with games to come against Portugal and Korea. Weeks since they left it all on the field in Lyon. Now Carly Lloyd leaving the Irish defenders in her wake. Hurahan via the bounce down off the turf, managing to keep her at bay.
I think she was thinking too, if I can just get this keeper to bite as if I'm coming across, I could catch her near post. Hurahan wasn't biting, wasn't leaving her near post either.
They're actually very briefly teammates together, Carly Lloyd and Hurahan with Manchester City.
One of the few touches by Alyssa Nair. What a tournament she had as well, with all the fire coming her way going into the tournament about how do you fill the shoes of Hope Solo? Is she ready for this job? Can she make the big save? And then for her to have the tournament she did. And she had her moments, of course. We saw in the Spain game where she played that one into Becky Sauerbrunn, and then Spain scored.
Yeah.
But she also saves the penalty kick.
Yep. Steph Howe in England.
Yep. Made another big save against England to keep them in that game. Was solid against France. I mean, she answered every bell. And it was, what was amazing to see is when she saves that penalty kick, you might remember, Adrian, the entire back line went to her and her teammates.
Yeah.
And you could see the joy they had in her having that success. And she was like, get going. We got a game to play.
We still got to try and win this. Still
Let's
8 minutes left.
Thank you, I appreciate it, but go. But they always had her back. And Jill Ellis, every time you would say, you know, you confident you're number one? Absolutely.
Still done. I don't think her teammates ever lacked confidence, did they, in Sinner? But it was a big moment for her in terms of really springing to public prominence and emerging from the shadow of Hope Solo. Tobin Heath. It's a time for Kelly O'Hara to measure the cross. Everyone inside the Irish half of the field except Sinner. Sam Mewis.
Harley's thinking, I am getting one before they sub me out for my midweek game.
Still to go in this first half. Irish defence that is feeling pretty beleaguered at the moment, and they've been breached again, and Carly Lloyd does have her goal. Had a sense of inevitability about it. It's been close there or thereabouts, and finally she gets a header to go in.
Good for her, and what a good one. Kelly O'Hara constantly giving that wide option, fighting balls in. And look at, you have two players on Carly Lloyd, one in front of her, one behind her. For her to get the power that she can get on these head balls, she's going away from goal. What a nice goal that is.
Yeah, that might have been the toughest header that she's had all night, Julie.
Because she's marked well by Ireland.
It's goal number 114 for her.
We didn't talk about it in the pregame. We didn't have the time, but one of the things that I also think is so impressive in Jill Ellis's tenure is you look at her 2015 World Cup. She had to deal with an aging Abby Wambach, who was on her final leg of her career, and how you manage that.
Yeah.
And Jill Ellis also had to. They win, of course, in 2015, and Abby handles that beautifully. And Jill Ellis also had to navigate how she deals with another legend in Carly Lloyd, and her, she won't say it yet, but perhaps her final World Cup, now at 37. And what a career she's had. And she was more vocal than Abby about wanting to play and wanting to start, but
yeah,
I think the team is familiar with that. That's Carly. That's always been her. It's not something that's a negative. It's I'm driven. I want to be out there, and I want to be playing.
Yeah. Well, managing reduced minutes of playing time for superstars and leaders of team.
Right.
It's tripped up and foiled many a great coach. This was talking of tripping up Katie McCabe, falling over Juliet. She was in the process of earning Ireland's first corner of the game, and she's come up hurt. Katie McCabe has actually scored more goals than anyone else out there in the Irish starting 11. She scored their last goal against Italy back in April. She plays for Arsenal in the English top flight, alongside Kim Little, and Vivian Miedema, of course, also plays for a teammate with Arsenal.
From the Netherlands. And this is a player Ireland wants to keep on the field, clearly. Making sure, though, that there's no concussion, which is great to see.
They have their first corner. They have a couple of big targets as well. Louise Quinn, the centre-back, who's number 4, will be an obvious one. She's a 6-footer. It's in towards Quinn, and she got the header. Only glanced it wide. It's a long way back, isn't it? Just a couple of minutes before half-time. Coming up at the half, the legacy of the 2019 team, and we'll also give you a preview of the Alex Morgan show on ESPN Plus called The Equalizer. Episode 4 of that is just about to drop.
Just watched it today. It's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots to enjoy in that series.
Gets him at the ESPYs. Gets him going on Jimmy Kimmel. A lot of fun behind the scenes.
Now then, is there another to come for Carly Lloyd? She did all the pickpocketing work there and then couldn't find the finishing touch.
And this is what you just gotta love about Carly Lloyd. I mean, there is no victory tour game for Carly Lloyd. She's coming, right? It's not like, oh, I'm just gonna, have fun out here and take my foot off the pedal. No. I mean, that is what has made her so good for so many years. I mean, when you think about a player that's doubled her production in her 30s.
Yeah.
And that's why. I mean, it's why it wasn't disruptive at the World Cup. Her saying, I've proven that I should be starting. Because that's how Carly always has been.
Playing with Sky Blue, the NWSL, not far from where she grew up, Delran, New Jersey. You think there's a chance, Julie? I mean, she is 37, she'll be 40, not 41 when the next World Cup rolls around.
Tell you what, I would never tell Carly no.
You wouldn't bet against
her. That's a bad idea.
You wouldn't want to be that coach.
Yeah. I mean, she said immediately after the game in the mix zone, I heard the audio from her saying, when asked, what do you want to do? Do you want to go for the Olympics? Do you want to continue to go for another cycle? And you could tell she was so ecstatic, of course, that the team had won, but also felt like she had a bigger role to play. So I think she probably will continue to play through this Olympic cycle and then retire at 38. So legend of the game.
Yeah, 45 minutes in the books, and the victory tour is off and running for Jill Ellis. She heads towards the exit. 3-0 at half-time. Carly Lloyd grabbed her goal near the end of the half after Tobin Heath had opened the scoring. Hope you're enjoying our coverage. When we come back at halftime, we'll take a look at the legacy of the 2019 team. Welcome back, everyone, to the Rose Bowl. ESPN's coverage of US soccer is brought to you by Volkswagen. Adrian Healy alongside someone who's just delighted to be back here at the Rose Bowl, Julie Foudy, loving every minute of it as we get underway at the start of this second half. 3-0. The US opening up their victory tour in fine fettle. And a few switches to tell you about at the start of the second half. Let's start at the back, Julie, where Ashlyn Harris has come on to replace Alyssa there. Emily Sonnet is also on, in place of Kelly O'Hara, and Jessica McDonald is going to be in for Tobin Heath. Just one change for the Irish as well. Rihanna Jarrett replacing Amber Barrett up front.
And although I'm sure Jill would like about 500 substitutions, she's only allowed 6 as they are for friendlies. 3 of them have been used.
It's going to be great to see Jessica McDonald out there. What a story she was to make her first World Cup at the age of 31. Another on the team as well.
It was fun to see her success over the years and her climb that ladder and continue to fight to be on the national team. And there she was, holding that World Cup trophy.
Yep. We had Mia Hamm on our desk and Kate Margraf talking about the NWSL, and Jessica McDonald has really used the NWSL so beautifully to elevate her career.
I only heard them talking about my nice ankles. I have no idea what you're talking about. Was there something about that?
They definitely mentioned your ankles.
She's the best.
Yeah.
I started to get kind of teary when she was talking about the impact on our kids, because that was such a moment for all of us. There were so many of us over there in France. Mia and her kids. I had both of my kids. Izzy, who's 12, Declan's 10. And the impact it doesn't just have on your daughters, but your sons as well.
McCabe's corner. Early take of the ball for Ashlyn Harris. It's only more work for her than Alyssa there had in the first half. Ashlyn Harris, his most recent appearance was here in LA against Belgium before the World Cup. There's Jessamine McDonald forcing her way into the penalty area. It's a great run. Ninth cap. She scored a goal in that Belgian game back in April. Also scored against Portugal. Unwavering perseverance. The story of her journey. Kristen Press set the table to really good service from the corner. So the US quite latch on. It's a long, long chase back, isn't it? Lindsay Horan. Crystal Dunn. McDonald to win the corner. Heather Payne to get the tackle in. Here's Heather Payne. She will be playing collegiately at Florida State in just a couple of months' time.
Mark Krikorian, the master of wooing the international player.
Yeah. He's made a habit of luring Irish players as well. The third to play for the Seminoles.
Megan Campbell, Megan Connolly.
Flick header at the near post. Lee Gavitt.
Both still playing, Megan Connolly and Megan Campbell for Ireland. Megan Connolly was a late drop, sadly, with an injury. Megan Campbell playing over in Man City, so they are missing a few key players, Ireland, as they gear up for their European qualifiers.
desperate to be a part of Euro 21, which is being played right on the doorstep in England. It's been fascinating, Julie, to see over the last, particularly 5 or 6 years, the rising tide of European women's soccer.
Yeah.
It's one of the players the crowd are hoping to see tonight, Rose Lavelle.
I said, Rose, how are your hamstrings feeling when I spoke to her yesterday? Fine.
Yeah.
It's always like, yeah, everything's fine. I'm good. They've been great. I thought they would be a little tighter, but they're not. I've been great.
What a star she was in France.
Yeah, and it's the exact player that the U.S. needed, given their struggles to break down that compact defense of Sweden in 2016. I mean, that was the big lesson that Jill Ellis took from the Olympic disappointment.
Jessica McDonald's cross and Kristen Press with the header, couldn't put it on target. Kristen Press, who plays for the Utah Royals, the NWSL. Jessica McDonald, we talked about her journey. He plays with the North Carolina Courage, and the upcoming NWSL schedule all on ESPN News. Portland and North Carolina, how about that for a top-of-the-table tilt? August the 11th, that'll be another massive crowd, I would think, in the Rose City. They had 23,000 there for the Thorns in their first game post-World Cup.
Yeah, and we know how great that crowd is in Portland all of the time, but just see the bounce from other cities as well.
Yeah, Julie Ertz on the ball now, talking to us in glowing terms about the 17,000 she played in front of for the Chicago Red Stars. It was a sellout back on July the 22nd. The Utah Royals have had a nearly 16,000 crowd as well. Orlando smashing their previous best. Even the Washington Spirit with a sellout, a much smaller stadium. So it's been league-wide, the knock-on effect of these 23 women did in France. Now then, Sam Mewis, the great approach work.
You can see exactly what the idea is, just didn't quite execute it. She sees there's that little window on the far post. If I could just bend it in there. It just doesn't curl. But she takes that peek. And Crystal Dunn always finding those little seams. Sam Mewis just trying to wrap it around.
Another who plays for the North Carolina Courage, Sam Mewis. Has always been such a dominant force in the center of midfield, dating back to her youth club soccer days in Massachusetts. Twin sister Christine, who was a good player as well at youth level and collegiately. And you talked about her World Cup, Julie. 6 goals she scored in 2019. Third best on the team.
And that was another great talking point from the World Cup, is just how many different players, the production, 9 different players in the World Cup. They, of course, have to brag about that midfield again. Scoring so many from midfield as well.
Yeah. Well, only one team has shared the wealth around more than that, 9 different goal scorers, and that was your team in '99, Julie.
Really?
When you had 10.
I did not know that, Adrian.
Well, you didn't know you played here in 2002.
That's true. I don't know much anymore. Twice here in 2002.
Is preparing another switch momentarily. Going to see Ali Krieger for much longer. Before that, corner for Kristen Press. Drives it in towards the near post. It was the half-time substitute, Jarrett, who got it away, and then the follow-up shot is skewed well wide, and now Ali Krieger can make her entrance, and it is going to be Carly Lloyd who departs. And she waited a long time to play her first game at the Rose Bowl, and Carly Lloyd certainly made the most of it. She's just getting the message now that her number is up. She shows no signs of slowing down, does she? She hands over the armband, gets the congratulations from Jill Ellis. And she makes way for another veteran in Ali Krieger. Sebastian Salazar is still with us. He has something on Ali. What do you got, Seti?
Yeah, guys, Krieger, huge part of the 2011-2015 World Cup teams. But after the Tournament of Nations in 2017, she went over a year with basically radio silence from the national team staff. Effectively, she's left out of the team. She was still playing well, NWSL Best 11 2017. I spoke with Ali just before they left for the World Cup, and she actually credited her NWSL teammate down with the Orlando Pride, a World Cup winner herself, Sydney Leroux, with keeping Krieger positive during what she described as a very difficult time. Leroux kept telling her, I know you're going to get called up. I know you're going to get called up. And Sydney was right. Krieger was in between preseason two-a-days with the Pride earlier this year when she finally got called back into the team. Guys, she ends up playing in a third World Cup. And on top of that, she played some significant minutes in France as well.
Yeah. It's a long time to go without a call-up, Julie.
Right. I mean, and Jill took a ton of criticism for that because she was rotating again through those outside backs. Sam Mewis checking her nose. And we'll get back to the Ali Krieger story.
Yeah, Harriet Scott has picked up a booking. Actually, I think it was Niamh Fahy for this. Yeah, it was Niamh Fahy who flattered into Sam Mewis. He was trying to stem the tide of blood. It's taking some doing. She's really taken a blow from Fahy.
And back to Ali Krieger, I do think Jill waited too long to bring her back in. But here's where, again, I give Jill a ton of credit. In that World Cup final, and actually picking her roster, she picks Ali Krieger with not much time back with the team because she brought her in so late. Yeah. But she brings her because she knows she has that experience. And so Ali Krieger's able to jump into that final game in the second half. Imagine that. The score was still 0-0, I think, as she comes in. And Jill has that on her bench as part of her arsenal because I think there have been a lot of coaches who said, I'm not going to bring her after I've waited this long, maybe made a mistake on that. And she brought her and was able to use her and helped the U.S. team with her experience in her third World Cup, as Sebi pointed out, win a World Cup.
France's free kick is glanced behind for yet another U.S. corner. Krieger certainly been well travelled, hasn't she? 5 years playing professionally in Germany, also a year in Sweden. Over 100 caps now. There's Emily Sonnet, her first touch of the ball. I think Sam Mewis is going to be able to continue. It's Kristen Press sends in an open header and an invitation. Haran couldn't put her aerial attempt on target, and indeed Ali Long is going to come on for Sam Mewis. Ali Long, another who battled through adversity to make her first World Cup. Sonnet. Switch to Krieger. Good looking cross. It was causes some confusion at the back for the Irish. And another Service in towards the far post. Jess McDonald close to getting something on it. Four stars on the jersey continue to probe for number 4 here. Crystal Dawn. It's a great looking ball from Crystal Dawn. Just a little bit of hesitation from Ali Long. Well, there's going to be some reception here. It is the Rose Bowl, after all.
It's a good one. I got it.
Well, the revelation, I think it's fair to call her that, Julie, of the World Cup for the US. We are sure that's Rose Lavelle, not Katie Lavelle, right?
So much fun to watch her excel at that World Cup, and her first World Cup, as we were talking about earlier. And to show what she can be and why Jill Ellis stayed with her through her injuries in 17 and 18. I mean, she was out almost a full year, Rose Lavelle, where a lot of people were like, why isn't she playing again? And she was another setback and another setback, and Jill Ellis knew, and this is a player for the future, and you stay with players like that. And boy, did it pay off.
Yeah, she was telling us yesterday how this exact victory tour back in 2015 was her first taste of what it really took to compete at this level. She didn't get on to play in any of those games, but she was brought in by Jill Ellis to play in the training for those games. Individual honours, Megan Rapinoe, of course, with the golden ball and golden boot. Alex Morgan with the silver boot. And Rose Lavelle.
You think she could have predicted that 4 years ago in those victory tour games? Yeah, I'm going to walk away with the bronze.
And there's the gold and silver. Neither of them can play a part tonight. We were in Cincinnati for an MLS game a couple of weeks ago. Julie, and Rose Lavelle was the queen of the Queen City. She was center of attention. Massive gathering in Fountain Square in the center of the city with the mayor leading all the ceremonies. And here she is, Lavelle, on her way. Just a little too strong for Crystal Dawn. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus, we'll have the 97th annual FA Community Shield. It's always the curtain raiser to the English domestic season. The Premier League champions, the FA Cup winners, Man City and Liverpool. That's 10 a.m. Eastern. You can download the app or go to ESPNplus.com. Watch the game anywhere. And if you get ESPN Plus, you can also see our studio show, ESPN FC, every single day. Can you believe it's that time of year already, Julie? Community Shield time? That can't be right.
I know. Can't stop, won't stop.
No,
this soccer.
It never stops.
No, not anymore.
We love it. How about the NWSL, talking of league seasons? Portland, North Carolina, Chicago. The Rain, the top 4 at the moment.
Washington trying to get into that top 4.
Big games coming up. We're delighted to be TV broadcast
So excited
partners.
we have him. Yeah, exactly.
Rest of the season right through to the playoffs and the final as well.
In our family.
There's Rose Lavelle. Goes with the Washington Spirit. And has the crowd on their feet here. Their goal against the Netherlands will live a long, long time in the US soccer collective memory. Little footwork from Lavelle and teeing it up. Becky Sauber.
Wouldn't that be something to see Becky Sauerbrunn getting in on the action?
She's never scored yet in 164 appearances for the US. This is never too late to start.
She's like the Kate Sobrero Markgraf. We'd be like, go take that penalty kick.
Didn't she score on her final appearance, Kate? It was a penalty.
Yeah,
I think it was against
She would
Ireland.
always be like, no, go take it.
I believe it was against Ireland too. I might be wrong about that. We'll have to confirm with Kate, see if she remembers. 12 previous meetings, by the way, between the US and Ireland, and the US won all 12. Most recently, at the start of 2016.
We started talking about just the dominance of Europe and the rise of Europe. I mean, and this is a team that has never qualified for a major tournament. It's hard to get out of Europe. But back in April of 2017, their players actually went on strike against their federation and said, look, it needs to be better. We need to be paid better. They were sharing tracksuits where they literally had to take them off in the airport before they were done with the tournament.
They're down tools, didn't they? They refused to train for a day or two until the Irish FA actually sorted things out, which they did.
I mean, we talk a lot about the pay equity issue happening right now with this current team, and yet all over the world you see it in pockets and in different countries where players are standing up and saying, no, this isn't right. And you see the federations who are supporting their programs for just a little bit of investment. The return has been huge. When you see the response in Spain and England and France, Italy, the global numbers, the audience, they reached over 1 billion viewers.
Well, Megan Rapinoe said it best, Julie. We just saw her. She said everyone's ready for this conversation to move on to the next step. What does that involve for you, Julie?
Well, it's going to involve more money, that's for sure. I mean, I think the federation knows that publicly they're on the wrong side of that, but they also, it's such a hard conversation to have in terms of the pay structure, because they're two different types of pay structures where the men don't get the guaranteed salaries that the women do. And I think actually what you could see going forward is the women go to a salary structure similar to the men, where you get paid only if you come in, you get a game bonus, and if you win, you get an additional bonus on that. And I think that's where U.S. Soccer could make a big stride if the women do decide to go to that pay structure, is pay them all the same, right? But then the big nugget that everyone doesn't know how to address is that FIFA money, because there's a big difference in how much FIFA pays U.S. Soccer for the men's success versus the women. And how a court would rule on that, I honestly do not know.
Well, it was interesting, wasn't it, in this few days in LA that some of the players involved, they've teamed up with the Time's Up movement. Some leading actresses, Natalie Portman, Erica Ferreira, Brie Larson, fighting for pay equity in all workplaces.
Yeah, and 19 players showed up. And they did breakout sessions about how they could actually organize, not just for themselves, but for others, for their industry, for other teams, and obviously various industries involved in this. But these players, they realize they're setting a standard, not just for sports, but for other women out there, and they take that responsibility seriously.
There's actually some photos that were taken. This was a brainstorming session just down the road in West Hollywood. Mentioned the Time's Up movement. The actresses involved.
It's been it's been so fun to see that relationship develop, where Jennifer Gardner and Natalie Portman, who's here tonight, and Ava Longoria and Brie Larson, as you mentioned. There were so many. Uzo Abudo. There were so many at that game in LA, and they've continued that relationship. That game in LA in April.
Victorious on the field. Very much fighting for equity off it. It's going to be fascinating to see how US Soccer responds. Of course, President Carlos Cordero released that letter this week.
I will say it was amazing to watch in France when the U.S. players put that flag in the ground 3 months ahead of the World Cup and said, we're going to file a lawsuit against our player going into the World Cup 3 months ahead of time. I remember talking to Mia and saying, I'm not sure we would have done this right before '99. We wouldn't have the courage to bring on that type of distraction, but this team knew it was bigger than that. And they said it over and over. Yes, winning a World Cup is so important to us, but there's a bigger picture to this. And their ability, given whatever the conversation was circling around them that was meant to be a distraction, whether it was the president tweeting it about Megan Rapinoe or it was equal pay or whatever it was, their ability to stay focused on the task at hand was tremendous to watch and see live. No wonder Rose Lavelle was saying she was exhausted after the World Cup to lock in with all of that noise around you.
Yep.
Every single one of them was like, ooh, I'm tired.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't blame you. That was a lot.
Really still feeling the effects. Some of them are quite vocal about that. 4 weeks on. McDonald to Emily Sonnet. So we'll be following the developments in the fight for equity very closely. We'll also be following what happens next on two fronts in the coaching department. What do you think Jill Ellis does next, Julie? I know she's got another 4.5 games to go, and she's going to clearly take some time away from the game. But
I hope she gets a large beverage and goes find an island. She said, I took Lily, her daughter, who's, oh my gosh, I can't believe Lily's going to be a freshman in high school. She said, Lily and I went on a 3-day trip to Turks and Caicos. And right before coming in here, and she said it was so great. So I think that will be the first priority, is precious time with the family that she just hasn't had.
With the pressure off.
But there's also the technical position open up for the youth side. And I mean, no one knows the layers of U.S. soccer as much as Jill Ellis does. She has been at the youth level. She's been an assistant coach. I mean, she could come in and start talking about, all right, how do we not just ensure that we're in every final, but that we're winning every final?
Do you think she really hasn't given it much thought? What comes next?
Nah, she's given it thought. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. She did her pro license, her USSF pro coaching license. She's the first woman to complete that license. She was doing it alongside some MLS alums, like the likes of Jesse Marsh and Caleb Porter, Greg Vanny, Josh Wolf. They all did that course together. She clearly wants to carry on coaching eventually. Just what? Because it's a hard act to follow up, isn't it, being a US national team coach? You think of Tom Samani and Pia Sundhage and Greg Ryan and April Heinrich, so what they've done post being a national team coach, it's hard to find that next step, isn't it?
It's going to be hard to find that next coach, too.
Well, that's the other part of the equation.
That's the second part I knew you were getting to, Adrian. I was waiting for that.
Not just what Jill does next, but what do the US do next?
Well, we were talking about it pregame. I mean, it's a tight turnaround with this coach. Probably first you got to hire a general manager. Of course, our colleague Kate Markgraf is
in the running.
In the running,
it's fair to say.
Yeah, I think she would be fabulous.
She would be fantastic.
And
if you're listening, US Soccer.
I've already started.
No-brainer.
I've already started
no-brainer.
my list for her in case she does, get it. But the other thing is, you're talking about really these games run through October. These 5 victory tour games, which Jill said she has done, and then they have a couple pair of friendlies in November. I don't know if I'm allowed to announce that, but that's really when they start that shift. And so you're talking about a 10-month frame where you've got to get the team ready for the Olympics. And so I think the idea of it almost being 2 different jobs. So you have one that's a short-term cycle where you bring someone very familiar like Tony Gustafsson, who's the assistant coach, who's so well respected, has been with Jill this whole time and is very involved tactically in what they do and is in the huddle, talking to them all the time and well loved. Could he, I've never talked to Tony about this, but someone like that, or Steve Swanson, could they take that short-term position and then you bring in a new voice?
Crystal Dunn's cross, meanwhile. Is that a handball? Some questions being asked. Whoever it is, Julie, will face a situation not unfamiliar with this team, and it's how do you transition?
Yeah, because I don't think that's the long-term answer either, because I do believe you need a new voice. You need a new way. You need someone that brings different types of training techniques and drills and all of that. But I do think it's a good short-term answer.
Always moving on from one generation to the next is a tricky part of any coach's remit. Truly, 11 players in their 30s at the moment in the current squad. There's one of them, Ali Krieger. And all the while you make that transition, you have to keep winning. I mean, you're expected to win every game. It's the coach of the US.
Yeah, right. It's true.
It's a tough balancing act. For you and Kate, pre-game, the desk with Sebastian, we're talking about the timeline, and they have to be fairly speedy about this, don't they? With Olympic qualifying starting
absolutely.
quite soon. Give and go involving Crystal Dunn on the far side. Gargan looking it clear. But still just quite able to add to their 3-goal first half tally here. Which defence have held out. Stand whoever it is, Julie, a lot of criticism. Jill Ellis talked about it first off, was fabulous at doing that. Some of the accusations he had thrown her way, oh, she's too cautious, oh, she's too adventurous.
Experimenting too much, not experimenting enough. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good development, right? There were days, and I remember when we would be like, yes, thank you for criticizing this team. It actually means you care, you're paying attention, when we didn't get both sides of it. So I mean, she said when asked what her advice would be to the next coach is, buckle up. It's a roller coaster, right? It's those highs and lows, but make it your own, which I think is great advice.
There's Lavelle doing it her way, just like her coach. ESPN's coverage is brought to you by Volkswagen, presenting sponsor of US Soccer. Drive something bigger than yourself. Five-game victory tour kicking off tonight, where so much kicked off 20 years ago. Rose Lavelle. Now then, while we have a moment, laughter permitted with Julie Fountain.
Oh, here we go.
I'll tell you what it says. A fun, thoughtful, candid conversation with trailblazers in sports about the joy and chaos of life and sports. Laughter and donuts permitted.
Right. That's my new podcast, Adrian.
Season 1 available now.
Season 1 is out.
Listen on Apple or Spotify. I can tell you, our group here had a first-hand encounter with your love of donuts last night.
I bring them to every podcast taping. It's mandatory. You have to pound donuts.
And it leads to laughter.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
we have a lot of laughter. We had Mia on, and I always laugh hard with Mia Hamm, but Mia Hamm tells this story about a FIFA meeting she attended in Geneva. She sits on a FIFA council, and she's about, to go into this meeting with Gianni Infantino, the president of FIFA, and she suddenly realizes she has her seam in the back of her pants is splitting, right in her bum area. Oh my God! She tells the story that I get giggling every time. Still, I think I've heard it about 10 times, and I still start crying. I laugh so hard. But yeah, we got to talk to some great female athletes, and I think it's important that we share their stories and let others know how they are not just awesome athletes, but amazing human beings. It's been so much fun.
Great listen. It's
Crystal Dunn, who now has moved to the front line.
Yeah.
She moved earlier in the half, but that's the versatility of a player
versatility,
like this.
yeah.
Right? She can play all 3 lines. She could play in the middle.
Well, she's another that had to shake off the disappointment of missing out in 2015.
Oh, last player cut. And then, Crystal Dunn in every World Cup game. This is a player that was a forward transition to an outside back. She's matched up against, Diani from France, the speed of Diani. And then she had England.
Yep.
She had Lucy Bronze coming down that side. She had Nikita Paris coming down that side. She had some great players that she had to match up against and did so well.
What was it she said about 2015? She missed a World Cup, but she gained a husband because she watched all the games in a bar.
Right, with her husband.
With her husband to be Pierre. He's actually French.
Right. Talk about coming full circle, right?
Yeah. For an interesting World Cup. For the former Herman Trophy winner.
We might have a podcast on Crystal Dunn. Adrian, thank you.
Nice.
Yes.
Very nice. Croissants instead of donuts. Crystal Dunn's.
I don't have another chocolate croissant in my life.
You can never get too
I
many
ate
of those,
more than
really.
my weight in pastries over in France.
Yeah, it's easily done. Chanting, we want 4 here. The Rose Bowl. Rose Lavelle trying to get some inroads into the penalty area. It's Irish defence have shown their mettle, haven't they, in this second half? That was perhaps their forte before kickoff. Defensive will have learned
I like that.
a lot of lessons.
I like that Katie McCabe, number 11 for Ireland, who's been on this right side. On our side, you can see the promise she has.
Yep.
Plays for Arsenal, good on the ball, confident on the ball, taking players on speed.
And you mentioned FIFA just a couple of minutes ago, Julie, and they have made the decision to expand the Women's World Cup to 32 teams in 2023. And you imagine a nation like Ireland may be one of the beneficiaries of that decision.
Yeah, exactly. And that, I think it's a great thing, because what it does is it forces these federations who aren't typically funding their women's team to try and qualify, and it gives them another opportunity to get into a big tournament, which means they invest, they spend. And it's that many more federations that now hopefully are triggered with this catalyst of more teams being allowed in to invest in their women's team.
It's going to be quite a remarkable expansion rate, isn't it, when you consider There's still only 16 teams in Germany in 2011, so it'll have doubled in 12 years. By the time 23 rolls around. Of course, we don't know where World Cup 2023 is going to be played.
And that irks me, honestly. You knew 8 years out from Russia.
Yes.
We knew 12 years out for Qatar. And we're going to learn almost just over 3 years out.
Yeah, not till next March. Australia seem to be the clear front runners.
Right. But this could be interesting because with more teams, obviously, you need more facilities and infrastructure. And Australia still is that clear front runner. But does it mean more added to the mix? Right now, they're talking about 9 different countries expressing interest.
Yeah. But you're right, it does seem remarkably late in the process. Announcing a winner as Jess McDonald goes up to meet the cross from Crystal Dunn. More MLS soccer coming away tomorrow, a Sunday afternoon encounter from the Western Conference. Portland and their trip to Allianz Field to take on rising force that is Minnesota United. 4 Eastern, 3 Central on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and the app as well. ESPN Plus is your place for our daily show as well, ESPN FC. Well, they're not going to see Megan Rapinoe or Alex Morgan tonight. They were deep in conversation on the bench.
Very locked in on this one. It's so fun though when you, even though you're so tired, to come back and see all your teammates and get back together. I mean, there's such comfort and familiarity with just being around this group, and especially as I was saying earlier, just how much fun they seem to have this summer and how much they enjoy each other. You can see it with all they do.
Exuberance. Everything they do on the pitch.
I remember playing in the WUSA and pretty much losing every game, and then being like, I just gotta get back with the national team and we win. And where my comfort level is.
Right.
And the joy of being like, yes, I'm back with my girls.
Jess McDonald's back with the North Carolina Courage, who fall on top American scorer in the NWSL. What a thrill it must have been for her son Jeremiah, who's 7, to be with her in France.
I think they captured it on video the day he arrived in France and he went running into her arms. It was adorable.
One more switch for Ireland. Another debutante for them as Claire Walsh comes on to replace Louise Quinn. It's 4 of these Irish women who've made a debut here tonight. Too late. Not something to be able to say you made your first appearance at the Rose Bowl as that cross almost floated in at the far post. There was a touch. Sally Krieger's teasing delivery, but Hurahan backpedaling. One more for the US. It's a great floated ball from Abby Dalkemper. Still not able to add the exclamation point to the evening. We're on to Portugal next. That'll be the next opponent. A couple of games against them. Another rising nation in European women's soccer, Portuguese.
Another one who will be getting ready for European qualifiers.
Yep. games there at the end of the month and early September. A lot of NWSL action for all these players in the intervening weeks. It does feel like an inflection point, doesn't it, again, in the big picture for the NWSL as the final whistle sounds here. Well, they couldn't add to their first half tally. The 3 goals for Jill Ellis's team in the first half were enough. Hardy handshakes between her and Tom O'Connor. The victory tour starts as we might have expected it to start, with a victory and a comfortable one, Julie.
And they'll be pleased it was a shutout as well. And as hard as these games are with the turnaround and the emotion of coming off the high of the World Cup, I mean, the joy you get out of playing in front of your fans and being able to thank them as they did, and especially in such an iconic place like the Rose Bowl, I know the players were thrilled to have this opportunity tonight.
First time in 17 years for the US women's national team to be back in Pasadena after being back-to-back world champions. The crowd leaving with smiles on their faces. The US leaving with a 3-0 win. Let's go down to Sebastian Salazar and Kate Margraf.
All right, thank you very much, Adrian. 3-0 then the final score as the United States beats Ireland in this first of 5 victory tour matches to celebrate the 2019 Women's World Cup title. Kate and Seb here with you on the desk, field side at the Rose Bowl. I guess we could analyze the game, but let's save that for a little bit. There were so many kind of great moments tonight. Kate, is there one that stands out to you?
I think it's just seeing the number of players that scored and were trying to get involved. That eagerness, you always wonder how exhausted they are and how that impacts one's motivation. But you didn't see that. You see Harant making 40-yard runs from the midfield to try to get in the box. Carly Lloyd, you never have to question her motivation or her work ethic. And just the number of players that got in. So Sebi, I'm not answering your question. I didn't give you one, I gave you many.
Well, what about just the visual of the 4 stars above the crest? Having been a part of one of those stars, now seeing it in front of these fans, what does that mean to you?
You know, I'm not really like the emotional type of person, or at least I'm not going to show it to you. And that was probably one of the few times I've ever gotten choked up on this side of the field, where you see that and it's knowing that you were a part of it, but then seeing that someone else took it and made it bigger, and then in 15, and then they made it even bigger in 19. And seeing that annual step up and that progression is what anyone wants.
There were so many kind of loud ovations during this match, but it wasn't just for like Alex Morgan and Megan Rapinoe. It was for Kristen Press, who came off the bench at the World Cup. It was for Ali Krieger, who came off the bench at the World Cup. It was for that young lady, Rose Lavelle, who certainly started the World Cup. That says 2 things to me, Kate. One, that this is truly a team, right? There are a lot of stars on this team. And second, that the fans of this team know it very well. I wonder if in 1999 they would have had so many big ovations for so many players, even players that weren't in that starting lineup.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I was in the starting lineup, but you would never notice me except for I had red, white, and blue hair.
That'll make you stand out.
Yeah, but that wasn't the way I did it. I lost a bet. But what I'm getting to, the difference is now there's an accessibility due to social media. And because of social media, the personalities have been allowed to shine where people can now witness it. And there's so much playfulness, especially amongst that younger group. I mean, it is hilarious to follow them on Twitter. I saw a Twitter feed where people are following them on Venmo, and they're posting images of what they're saying and reimbursing one another. So, I mean, it's stuff like that allows people to meet their heroes or see their idols in different lights. And if you add more dimensions, you add to the fandom.
Let's get some perspective from those up in the booth, Adrian Healy and Julie Foudy. Guys, so many great moments tonight. I wonder what stood out to you.
You've got to start with the smile on this woman's face. Right from the word go. Julie, you've just been lapping this up. And there weren't even
so
any donuts involved.
I know. It's so fun to be able to get this moment where you've done all the work, you've put in the sweat and the tears, and these players have talked about this journey as being a hard one, right? Whether it's injury or Ali Krieger's story where she was, she didn't hear from the coach for a full year. But everyone has their stories. So to be in this moment where you can come and just celebrate it with your fans is so fun to watch. And Mia talked about it, I thought, perfectly at halftime when she said, the impact you see now as a mom and with your kids coming full circle and how they respond to the players. I mean, I did the post-game celebration party in France with this team, and I had an hour before we had to do our next Sports Center hit, and so my kids literally grabbed me. They were like, "Mom, we need pictures, we need autographs, we want to see this person," and to see the impact on them is so fun. You feel almost maternal that this program has not just inspired this next generation, but they've done it in such a way that I think is so courageous.
And it's been such a whirlwind 4 weeks for these players. I mean, 4 weeks tomorrow is when the World Cup final took place, and everything they've been through since that point, Julie, to come here tonight with some tired minds,
tired legs,
and still be able to put on a show for these fans was fantastic to see. And we talked about the exuberance that they just carry with them on the pitch, and more of that tonight, Julie.
Well, I will tell you the one thing I was hoping for tonight, and I hope she has her headset on by now. I thought Becky Sauerbrunn was going to get that first goal when she launched it from the top of the box.
She gave it a really good
I was
go.
on the edge of my seat. Becky, come on.
Well done. Thanks, guys. Of course, Becky Sauerbrunn joining us here on the set. Walk us through what was happening, because we were all thinking, here it is, Becky's first goal.
I was like, time to slow down a little bit, and I was just thinking, just get a piece of it. And I thought I hit it really well, and I just obviously didn't. It went wide. So
No, I'm going to give you credit. I do think you hit it well, just maybe not on target. But that's a good starting step towards, because I know what that's like. Defenders don't get enough love for the credit they do on the defensive side.
I know.
And everyone's always worried about the goals. I mean, it doesn't make any sense because that's not your job.
It's not my job. My job is to make sure the ball doesn't go into my goal. And so tonight we succeeded in that at the back line.
Kate was telling us this, I think, at halftime or maybe pregame. This is a brutal game if you're a center back, because everybody wants to get the goal. Did you sense that tonight?
Oh, I think on this team, everybody always wants to get the goal. So, yeah, I don't think this night was any different from any other game.
I'd be remiss if we didn't mention the 37,000 fans who are here today. They really brought the noise, such an atmosphere. What does that mean to you to be home in front of them?
Oh, I mean, this is unbelievable. I mean, this is such a historic place. It has such memories for the U.S. Women's National Team. And so to be able to play here, so many people out here supporting us. I mean, this is just what you want to play for, and we're just so thankful and wanted to celebrate with everyone that supported us in France. And so this was a great night.
What was the feeling like watching the 5 stars, or the 4 stars, excuse me.
Don't get ahead of ourselves.
I'm getting excited for 2023 already. Now, what was it like to see the 4 stars getting rolled up and knowing that you've had such a big part, and knowing that you've had 164 caps? It seems you've been around. I was leaving, you were coming.
Yeah.
You've had over a decade.
Yeah. I mean, it's always such an honor to be able to wear this uniform, and just, I mean, to be a part of 2 World Cups and 2 stars. I mean, every time we're gonna look at that jersey, you're gonna know that you had a part in that, and so it's just an honor, and that's all I can really say.
Becky, I know it's kind of a cliche question, but we're seeing your teammates right now taking the field and waving to the fans. What makes this group special?
Sorry, say that again?
What makes this group so special?
Oh, I wish I knew. I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I think it's resiliency. It's a mentality that you just can't teach. It just is innate in all these players. And it's just a pursuit of excellence and a discontent with not being where we're at. We always want to push the level. We always want to get better and better, and we always want to be the best. And so we bring that every single day to everything we do. And that's a hard thing. I think that's grinding, but these girls every single day are willing to put in that work. And so I think that's what makes us special.
Now, this is a little bit off topic, but the meme I've seen a ton is with you in the finals, blood dripping down your face, and it's like, this is what it's like when you tell me it's Monday. People add whatever, I'm just coming up with stuff off the cuff, but have you seen the memes, or have you even recognized that? Has anyone ever commented on it?
I mean, I've seen it around social media, and it was such a weird moment to happen in a World Cup final, but I'm always going to have the scar now, and I can have a really cool story about how it happened, and if people want to have fun with it, please go ahead.
You mentioned the significance of 1999 and this game being here. Do you remember that game, and what are your memories of it, and how did it inspire you?
Oh my gosh, do I remember this? Yes, I was in St. Louis in my living room watching it with my dad. He was in his rocking chair. I was on the floor with just head in hands, just enthralled with what was happening. And then when Lil cleared the ball off the line, and then with Brandi Chastain scoring the goal, that was the moment for me. I needed to know what it felt like for those women on the field, them celebrating and how happy they were. And that was the turning point for me, where I was like, I need to know what that feels like. And so that's when it, for me, was I'm putting everything into this team, into making this team, into being on this team, into helping this team win a star. And luckily, I've been a part of 2 of those.
What's it like to go around the country playing in these Victory Tour games and sharing the way that you play in front of all of these fans?
I mean, we want to celebrate with the fans. We want to celebrate, with all the people on the team and all our staff. And it's just, we had such amazing support in France. Every single game that we went to, whether it was the people watching at home or the people actually in the stadiums, like, we felt that. And so we really just want to go around and just say thank you so much for what you brought to this team, like the energy and the love and the support, and like we feel it. And so thank you so much, and we just want to celebrate.
This the first of 5 Victory Tour matches. It goes in the books as a 3-0 win over Ireland. There you see the rest of the remaining schedule. A couple matches against Portugal and a couple matches against South Korea. Becky, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for taking time away from your teammates and this awesome celebration to come share with us. I got to be honest, I got goosebumps listening to you talk about 99. Very, very cool. So thank you for the time. We'll be back from the Rose Bowl in just a few minutes with some final thoughts as the U.S. kicks off this Victory Tour with a 3-0 win.
At Spectrum Business, we know today is the most important day for your business. Today, you have to stay one step ahead, solve new problems, and adapt to whatever the day throws at you. That's why you need Spectrum Business. With over 99.9% reliability, it's the network that keeps you connected to all of your clients and all of their needs. It's always on, like you. Because we treat today like the most important day for your business. That is, until tomorrow. Spectrum Business. We keep small business running.
We have 3 parts. We have the intro.
This summer, Volkswagen is supporting America's teachers. Visit your VW dealer to learn how you can join in. Hurry in during the Volkswagen Drive Bigger event and lease a family-friendly 2019 Atlas S4 Motion for just $329 a month.
Remember when your house had this thingy? Now it has that. But with Spectrum, smart homes aren't stopping there because they'll have all this amazing... Yeah, okay. Soon our homes will have this and that. You get the idea. That's why Spectrum's secure, fiber-powered network is ready with the privacy you demand and the bandwidth you need, no matter how smart our homes may become.
I too am hungry.
But some things will never change. Spectrum. Think forward.
I switched from Dodge.
We switched from Ford.
I switched from Ram. I switched to Chevy.
We switched to Chevy. We switched to Chevy.
For dependability.
For these guys.
And just look at it.
We switched to Chevy.
See for yourself why people are switching at the Chevy All-Star Open House. Get 20% below MSRP on all 2019 Silverado double cab pickups. That's over $97.50 on this Silverado. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
We're improving 50,000 homes by 2020.
One of the first things I noticed was that they didn't have a smoke detector, so that was the very first thing I did when I got here.
It's a big relief to know that my baby will be in a safe environment.
The team has really come together to do something powerful for the community.
We've had people tell us they don't know how they want to get their house done if it wasn't for us.
Thank you very much for everything that you've done, Spectrum. It means the world to me.
Hi, welcome to Toyota's
National Clearance Event.
Yes. Now's the time to get a great deal on the last of the 2019s. Huh, I'm impressed. But the deals will only last until
September 3rd.
What am I thinking now?
Now get $1,500 cash back on a built-in the USA Camry or a low-mileage lease for $209 a month with Toyota Care 2-year no-cost maintenance plan standard.
Save on the last of the 2019s.
Come in today!
Okay, what's up?
Toyota, let's go places.
This bell has rung 3,423 times. Spectrum Business knows the sound of that bell means that business is good. It means that someone got their first basketball or a glove they'll hold on to forever. With over 99.9% network reliability, Spectrum Business is there to help. So you can be sure your business will always be stocked, always be connected, and of course, always be ringing. Spectrum Business. We keep small business running.
The World Cup champion U.S. Women's National Team kicks off their victory tour with a 3-0 win over Ireland. For Adrian Healy, Julie Foudy, Kate Markgraf, and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Sebastian Salazar. Thanks so much for watching. Once again, the final score from the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California. The United States 3, Ireland 0.